What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the overall markets. I'm also going to break down some big news that came out that tends to be more bullish for the way the market's going to move. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY in uninvested cash. The offer ends in 10 days. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the markets. So, as a reminder, okay, the market had a very, very interesting day on Friday. We saw a big short squeeze because of the amount of options that were expiring with quadruple witching that was going on. Now, SPY rebounded, ES rebounded, NQ, QQQ, almost the entire market started to squeeze like crazy, but Tesla was relatively weak. Tesla closed in the red. Why was Tesla weak? Because we had that negative news that came out as a reminder. The mainstream news was screaming that Tesla has 700,000 recalls, but that wasn't necessarily the truth from how I broke things down because all Tesla had to do was give us a software update to fix the issue. It was just a minor tire pressure warning issue that Tesla had. It was just a software update to fix it. It's not your conventional recall. So that's a reminder of where we're at right now. So the question is, what's going to happen from this point? Well, Tesla's holding our 50 EMA, which is good. And now we have a bullish catalyst that's come out that could help the market push even more. But this is going to require that the market breaks particular pieces of resistance to continue the run. And I'm going to talk about what that is. So this is good news, though. We have some very, very good news that's come out. So I was talking about the whole government shutdown situation yesterday in my video. And I just wanted to say that what typically happens is there's a lot of politics that gets in the way. Everyone's just arguing, arguing, arguing. But at the very, very last minute, they end up avoiding a government shutdown. They pass a bill to do that. And that's what's been happening for the last couple of years. So that's what tends to happen. Now, just know that if they allowed a government shutdown, it would actually work against these politicians because they would be blamed for it, and it would just lead to a very, very big issues for everyday Americans. And this is not the time to really cause that to happen because Americans work very hard. I don't want to see federal employees not get paid for particular periods of time. It's going to hurt our economy and a bunch of other things like that. So, anyways, we did avoid this. What happened was yesterday in the evening, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill. The bill did not involve or include the debt ceiling. I do believe that many Republicans did want that, but it didn't really have that. But it's okay because for now, I just want to say that they kind of had to get something out as fast as possible. Otherwise, this would be a lot more worse. And hopefully, as time goes on, they do try to address that a lot more. I personally believe that's very important. But anyways, so the House, they came out, they passed this bill yesterday in the evening, and then right at the deadline, a little bit after the deadline, actually, I would say it was like very close to it. We had the Senate, they came out and they passed the funding bill. It happened on December 21st, so today at 12:39 a.m. So right at the deadline, the Senate passed the bill on 85 to 11 votes. Okay, pretty crazy stuff. And the bill is going to be funding the government through mid-March. So they're once again delaying things, and by mid-March, they're gonna have to do this all over again. But for now, it buys us some time. And then today we had Joe Biden. He came out and he signed it at 12:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just a couple of hours ago, Biden has signed the bill. That makes it official. The bill has been passed, and the government has avoided a government shutdown. So good news. It's very, very good news. And I think this is part of why the market was running the way it did. That's another factor that played a big role. The market ran because of the OPEX option expirations, the PCE data being below expectations, and also this news. Those are the three main factors. So that's good. And the question now remains, will we continue the run afterwards? And I'm really hoping that that ends up being the case. So when it comes to Tesla, we are in a range right now. So Tesla's stuck in a range on the 4-hour time frame. That's going to be very, very pivotal for where this ends up going. We do have an interesting pattern, though, where if you guys look at the pattern here, we have a tendency of liking to respect some uptrends like this, and then we like to dip and then stay range bound between our 50 and 20 EMAs, like right here. And as long as we don't lose the 50 EMA, we do tend to bounce off our 50 or our 20 EMAs and continue to run. That's what the trend has been like on Tesla. Another example would be like over here. So like right here, if you go back to like August, we were shuffling near our 200 EMAs as well. This is around the EMAs instead of like just holding them. Then we bounced. There was one instance where we came below them only to bounce. Then in this instance right here, we held our 50 EMA on Tesla. The 50 EMA held very nicely or very close, and it bounced. It held the 50 EMA, bounced, held the 50 EMA, and bounced. And since like the last few months, it's been holding its 50 EMA. So For now, that's a very, very key support, and you guys can see the yellow line right here. Tesla's trying to hold it. This is our support at 419.81. Now, if we close below this, I'm going to be a little bit concerned because then that's going to open the doors for us to retest 402, maybe even like the low 400s, maybe even fill some gaps below in like the high 300s. That's always a possibility if we fail at that support. I'll be watching this gap down here. I do want to say Tesla has some weakness looking at this on the daily, but I'm just hoping we try to hold this support for now. We did get some good news thanks to the government shutdown being avoided. So what I anticipate is on Monday, as long as there's no major bad news for Tesla, we should attempt a push. I think we will attempt to try to hold 420 and try to get back up above 438. To be really bullish, you want to see Tesla break 438 to start pushing. If we can't do that and we end up losing 419, I will be a little bit concerned. So for now, Tesla's range bound. It's been range bound for the past 2 days. We're stuck between 438 and 419. Whichever way we break is going to cause a bigger move. Do expect some kind of like push upon Monday morning, and we'll have to see if the move lasts or not. But that's all Tesla's doing for the time being. I do want to say the daily looks a little bit weaker, but we haven't lost critical support yet around that 419 area. So be careful. There is this gap down here, especially down around that 401 area, which also aligns with our 20 EMA. So there's a nice confluence of support here. So if we lose that 419 at 418 area and we start dumping, we're looking for 410 to eventually this gap fill in case we do get the downside move. I'm hoping that this news involving the government shutdown being avoided helps Tesla in the broader markets. So we'll see about that. Next week is going to be a shorter week with less volume, so we'll see how it goes for Tesla. But unlike Tesla, the market is stronger right now. The market's looking stronger. We're holding up very, very well. Just know this: when we go to our 4-hour time frame, this is looking quite decent. So I'm going to show you something very interesting. There's a thing that happens when we have these big bar reversal structures. So, for example, I could go over many examples. Like over here, when you get these reversal signals and we form these like big green bars, typically that does signify more upside. If you go back in the chart, you're going to see that a lot. Here's another example. So, if you look like right here on SPY, when you look at the 4-hour, we got this big green bar. We broke past our 50 and our 200 EMAs, and then we shuffled a bit, then just continued to push because of these imbalances over here. So you guys can see how that is what dragged this up, right? That's one instance. Another instance, I wouldn't say we had some massive green bars here, but we did try to reverse there. And then all of a sudden, like right here, back in November, SPY was dipping to its 200 EMA, and then we got this big green bar here, another couple of one of them, and then we got a really nice green bar here. And typically, when you get big green bars like that, we just like to continue these trends, and that's what happened so far. So in this case, we got a nice green bar already, a big one. Typically, this does lead to more upside. Typically, that is what happens looking at the start, looking at the chart, excuse me, historically, and we're trying to reclaim our 200 EMA. So this does favor upside a bit more. But like I said, we have to see if we can establish a higher low and then start pushing. So we'll see about that. I want to see this break 595. If we break that, then I think this is going to break out for the 600s pretty quickly because there's this big imbalance over here to fill. So the 4-hour does look more bullish. The daily is looking decent, but we need confirmation for it to break 595. Typically, this big green bar does favor upside, so I'm a little bit more optimistic about that, especially because of the news that just came out from Congress. So we'll have to see about that. But then we also have the QQQ, same setup essentially. So look at these reversal structures. For example, if I go really far back on the chart, we're seeing the same thing. Really far back. Like look at the last couple of months where we saw really significant sell-offs, right? So if we go back to like August, for example, on the QQQ, you will see that we were dumping quite a bit, but once we had a change in structure followed by this big green bar right here, this is what helped us to start continuing this push. And the big green bars do mean a lot. Okay. And then there's another example right here where we dumped really hard on the QQQ all the way down to about that 446 level back in early September. We tried to reverse, we got a big green bar, and then this is what led to a slow chop before a little bit more upside to continue. Another example, I don't really see it right here. I think there's another one right here somewhere. So like right here, for example, we go back to October, the QQQ was dumping back down to about 485. This big green bar right here came. So this was like clear was trying to fill these imbalances here. And that's what favored a lot more upside once we got that big green bar. So it just goes to show how like something as simple as just looking at the size of the candles could be very important. So we had a big red bar, which led to more downside. Now we have a big green bar. Will the big green bar lead to even more upside? I'm hoping so, but we got to get back above at least 523. If we break that, we're going to be looking for this imbalance to fill, and this is going to start pushing even higher. It does look a bit more bullish, but just for confirmation, I want to see if we can break this resistance. We'll see about that, just to be safe. But just to be clear, okay, we have Christmas week coming up. There's not really any major data that's coming out or no major earnings until like mid January. So the market is going through a quiet period. At this case, I would just say that we have one potential catalyst. The fact that the Congress has pushed this bill that could help the market push more. I'm really hoping it does, but let's see if the market breaks these resistance areas. We'll see if SPY could break 595 and QQQ if this could break 523. And for Tesla, you want to see it at least try to hold this support. I do want to say Tesla looks a little bit weak on the daily, but if we could hold this support between 410 and 420, I could be looking for a little rebound. I do think it's going to bounce a little bit upon open, but then we'll see if the downtrend continues or not. Technically, what typically happens is Tesla moves with the market. That's what typically happens. But what's been happening is we've been getting a lot of bad news, at least over the last couple of days. And that's made things a little bit more complicated, a little bit more difficult for Tesla. So the news is going to be another big factor. I do expect some kind of like push to start things off. But overall, the best thing I can tell you is we're just range bound. We have to wait and see what we do on the range. Can we close above 438 to be more bullish? Do we close below 419 to be more bearish? We will wait and see. All right. So I'll go over more tickers in my next video for tomorrow. I'll be talking about Palantir, AMD, and all the others. Until then, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back tomorrow with another update. Thank you, and peace out.